Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for SAT. We have been solving SAT math problems out of this book here, the official SAT study guide. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 581. Please turn to it. Page 581. Today is our lesson number 46. This section has 20 multiple choice questions, which means the first 6 or 7 are going to be easy, the middle 1/3 are going to be medium, and the last 6 or 7 are going to be hard. So number 1 is very straightforward. It says, question number 1, it says 3b plus 1 is less than 10. And the question simply is, which of the following cannot be the value of b? Well, let's find out. Let's solve for b here. Let's subtract 1 from both sides of the inequality. This one drops out and we end up with 3b is less than 9. Let's divide both sides by 3. And this 3 drops out and we find out that b is less than 3. If b is less than 3, then if they give you any answer choice that is more than 3, that cannot be the value of b, because we just found out that b is less than 3. So all the answer choices that are more than 3 are wrong. And of course, when I say all of them, I only mean one, because the question here is which of the following cannot be the value of b. So obviously they're not going to give you more than one answer choice where the entry is more than 3, because you cannot have more than one right answer. The answer, of course, is E. E says 3 and it cannot be 3. B is less than 3. And therefore, that's the one that cannot be the value of b. Number 2. In number 2, we are told that 2 raised to 4x equals 16. In order for us to be able to figure out the value of x, we have to somehow make the base the same. If the base is the same, then we can compare the exponents. 16, of course, we know can be written as 2 raised to 4. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times 2 is 16. So now that we have the same base, that means 4x must equal 4. And if 4x equals 4, then x must equal 1. There you go. Number 3. That's the end of that. Number 3. The answer is A. In number 3, we are being asked how much greater than r minus 2 is r plus 5. In other words, they're looking for the difference. So, for example, if someone asks you how much greater is 5 plus 7 versus 5 plus 3, we don't have to waste our time. We don't have to waste our time by going here 5 plus 7 is 12 and 5 plus 3 is 8 and then say 12 is 4 more than 8. We don't have to do any of that because 5 appears both places. So it's 4 more. That's all. 7 is 4 more than 3. The question in this case it's the other way around. So question here is positive 5 is how much more than negative 2? That's what they're looking for. Positive 5 is how much more than negative 2? Well, it's 7 more obviously. This is your 0. This is our positive 5 and this is our negative 2. So from negative 2 to 5 is a difference of 7. That's it. The answer is 7. Let's go to the next one, page number 582. 582. The first 5 or 6, as I told you, are pretty straightforward. Here we are given a rectangular box. I'm not going to draw it, there's no point in it. The question simply is, it has no lid on it and is cut along the vertical edges and flattened. So you're going to cut it around the 4 edges and you're going to flatten it. And the question simply is, which of the following best represents the results? Which of the following best represents the results? So if you have I don't know if you want me to do it or not. It's not necessary actually. So here is our box. It looks something like this. There's our box here. And if you were to cut it along the edges, so by along the edges they mean I think I'm making too much fuss about absolutely nothing. Of course, it's very straightforward. We're going to cut it along here. We're going to cut it along here, here, and along the edge here, along this edge. We're going to cut it and flatten it. And when we flatten it, what we'll find is that there is no way to actually explain it. There is no mathematical solution I present to you. What you will find is that the resulting figure that we will have is the one that you see in E. Resulting figure is the one that we'll see in E. Number 5. In the picture above, a path from point A to D is determined by moving upward and to the right. So we must go upward. We have to go upward all the time and to the right. In other words, we're not allowed to go move down a little bit and take a left and go find our path that way. We must always move upward and to the right. That's the condition. Let's read one more time. In the picture above, a path from A to D is determined by moving upward and to the right along the grade line. How many different paths can be drawn from A to D that do not include B or C? We are not allowed to go through B. We are not allowed to go through C. The question simply is, how many paths can we find? Well, let's find them. How many paths can we find? It's a 3 by 3. That's not a 3 by 3, is it? That's not a 3 by 3 either. What the hell is the matter with me? Here's your A, B, C, and D. We have to go from A to D. We have to go from A to D. We must always move up and to the right. The question simply is, how many paths are there? So let's find them, shall we? Let's count them. Let's start our journey from this way. We're going to go this way, this way, this way. Let's call this thing, we have A, B, C, D. Let's call it E. So the first path is going to be A, E, D. See, we're going to the right and to up. We are allowed to make a right turn and we're allowed to go up. We just can't go left. So that's the first path, which is going to take us from A, E, D. I'm not going to put arrows because once I start putting arrow for all of them, it will get to be too much. So the first part is A, E, D. How else could we have gone there? How else could we have gone there? We could have gone up to here, stop right here, let's call it F. We have A, B, C, D, E, let's call that F. And we could have gone up here, and then up again, and then up again, and then right. We could have done that. Oh no, we couldn't have done that. No, I violated something. We're not allowed to go through B, and we're not allowed to go through C. Sorry. So let's continue our journey. Oh, we can't go through C either, so we can't go up there. So we have to go this way, and we have to go this way and that way. That's another way we could have done it. That's another way we could have done it. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F. Let's call this point G, H, and I. So we could have gone A, F, G, F, G, H, I, and finally D. We could have done that. There's no reason why we had. Okay? So that's another possibility. What else could we have done? Let's not give this a name here. We just go from H to D. Of course, we're going to go through this point, but we're not giving it a name because there's none necessary. How else could we have gone it? Instead of starting our journey to the right, we could have started our journey upward. We are allowed to do that. We can move up. We can move up and right. So we could have started our journey upward, but once we go upward up to here, we're not allowed to move. We could go right, but then we'll end up going through B. We're not allowed to go through B, so we have to keep on going. We could have gone up to here. Let's call this thing I. Or let's go all the way up to the top. We could have continued all the way up to top here. Let's call this I. We could have simply go A, I, D. A, I, D. That's one possibility. Another thing we could have done is, instead of going all the way to the top, we could have stopped here at J, made a turn here. We can't continue straight because we're going to end up going through C. So from here we have to make a turn. Let's call this point K. We arrive here at L and we continue. So we have A, J, then make a turn to K, and then go straight up L, and then finally go to D. And that's about it. That's about it. Which is why I didn't want to put the arrows, because arrows are going to be too much, because just follow the letters. Just follow the letters. This is fine. I crossed it out to remind ourselves that we cannot go through B and we cannot go through C. So if you follow the letters, that's about it. There is no other option. One more time. One more time. We are at point A. This is where we begin our journey. So if we are at point A, there are only two ways we can start our journey. We can either take a right or we can go up. So we chose to go right first. We go to the right, we get up to this point here, between A and F, we get to this point here, but we can't go up, because if we went up, we're going to hit B. We are not allowed to go to B. So we go from A to F, G, H, because we can't go through C. So A to F, to G, and then H, and then D, which is the second option here. Or we could have gone A directly to E, and then all the way to D. We could have done that, A, E, D, A, E, D. Of course, we go through H and we go through that point, but that's not a big deal. We're just not labeling it. So that's one way. We could have taken a right and gone out that way, or we could have gone up straight. So A to I is straight, A to I, going through J, of course, and then directly to D. And of course, that will take us through L, but that doesn't matter. We are allowed to do that. Or we could have gone A to J. We can't take a right here because we're going to end up hitting B. A to J, and then K, and then L, and then D. A, J, K, L, and D. And that's about it. Those are the only options that are left. This one starts our journey to the left. This one starts our journey to the top. There are only 4 ways. There are only 4 ways. The only way you will get this question wrong is if you're not paying attention. Other than that, there is not much in there. Let's do the next one. I think I explained too much. Let's do the next one. Number 6. We're done with this thing. Number 6. Just keep in mind what the conditions are. There were 2 conditions we had to fulfill. One was that we are only allowed to go up or to the right. Secondly, we were not allowed to go through point B, and we were not allowed to go through point C, so we can't take any of those paths. And then you just count how many there are. Number 6. Number 6, we are told that 3/7 of n is 42. 3/7. What does off mean? Off means times or multiply. If someone asks us what is half of 10, well, half of 10 is 5. Off means times. So times n is means equal 42. What is the question asking? So 3/7 of 42 is 3/7 of n is 42. The question is, what is 5/7? Alright, so if 3/7 of 42 is, if 3/7 of n is 42, if we were to divide both sides by 3, we'll find that 1/7 of n is 42 divided by 3. How many 3's in a 4? 4 has only 1 3. The remaining one goes and joins 2, becomes 12. How many 3's in a 12? 12 has 4 3's. So it's 14. So 1/7 is 14. They're asking us how much is 5/7. So let's multiply both sides by 5. So that tells us that 5/7 of n equals 14 times 5. We know 14 times 10 is 140. Therefore, 14 times 5 is half of 140, 70. That's our answer. And that's it. That's answer choice A. That was it. I will see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.